are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show.
Listen, yo.
This is a J. York production. You are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show.
This is Travis Scott. 21-7.
You're listening to J. York Productions.
What it do is the baby and we in the mix.
You got it locked with D.Hall on the weekend, baby. Ready? And initiate a J. York production. J. York production. J. York production.
You are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show. This is a J. York production.
Facebook family.
Another day.
Hey, I'm Ashley Braswell, a local comedian from Charlotte.
The announcer Walter Waite.
Man, let me cut my mic on. I didn't have my mic on there. Good evening to everybody, or good afternoon, or whatever it may be there. It's good to see y'all. Good to be here. Another Sunday, man. It seems like it takes Sunday a long time to come back around when we don't have the fighters come in. We hadn't had a fight on in a while, probably about 3 weeks or something like that. But I'm glad y'all are here. Glad to see everybody. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to my Heavenly Father for letting me be able to come on. There's a few things I want to say before we move forward and get Reggie on. This video is the works of displaying and talking and discussing talk. This is an online talk show that it educates adult audience. Parental advisory is advised. Some things may not be censored, so some things may not be edited for children. Thank you for letting me get that out. But as I say, I'm glad to be back, glad to be here with you today, another Sunday. And we have a guest that's waiting on us to get him in here, Mr. Reggie Johnson. I think quite a few people know who he is. Hello, Chuck Metzer. How you doing, man? I see you over there. I want to shout him out. I think Peter McNeil is in here also, and Kevin D.Hall. I want to say hello to you. Get a little tongue twisted there, but anyway, without holding y'all up, let's go ahead and get right with Mr. Johnson, Reggie, three-time world champion. Let's bring him in right now. Hello, Reggie. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing fine, man. I hope all is well.
Yeah, everything is good here. We're glad to have you on our show today. This is you're the first a professional fighter that we had on that we beginning to have on in 2022. We look to have many more, but you're the first one to kick it off, and I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you here with us today. And people just popping in now. But anyway, I want to ask you to do this for me, Reggie. I want you to tell the people who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name is Reginald Dwayne Johnson. stage name, Reggie Sweet Johnson, 3-time world champion from Houston, Texas. A
Okay.
lot
Okay.
of people don't really also know this, but
Uh-huh.
boxing was sort of like Vegas here for Houston. Ali fought here. A lot of fighters fought here at the Astrodome. So
Okay.
I'm from a place that's very familiar with boxing, and we've produced a lot of great fighters from Houston,
Yes.
amateur and pro.
Yes, you matter of fact, you got some what is the brothers are down that way. Charlo, was it Charlo twins?
Yeah, the
Uh
Charlo brothers. As a matter of fact, their father was in the gym with me when I was at HBA. That's when the lady Josephine Abercrombie had Hearns, had Duran, had everybody. She tried to sign all the fighters back in the
wow,
day.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she signed Frank Tate, who I lost to in the Olympic trials.
Yeah, I remember Frank Tate. I
Yeah,
want to say hello to Oliver Fennell. He's all the way from the United Kingdom. He is a sports writer. Oliver, the sports writer was it Boxing News? I can't remember, but he'll tell me in a minute because he'll pop up. I'm seeing him come in here, and he's in here now. He'll tell me exactly what that publication is that he works for. Uh, yeah, he says, "Brilliant guys. Didn't know this one was on the schedule, but let me catch a replay tomorrow." As I am a bit busy right now. He says he's a bit busy, but he's all
yeah.
the way from the United
I know
Kingdom.
Oliver, and I did this thing, his show probably 2 or 3 times. Yeah,
Okay,
he's a.
okay, great. Well, that's good that you know it. We're gonna touch a little bit on a few things that I want to ask you, Reggie. Your father, he went to school with everybody knows George Foreman. Uh, how did they meet? Did they meet? Did they ever meet together, or did they just went to school together? Did they ever talk or anything like that?
Oh yeah, well, George Foreman and my dad grew up in Fifth Ward, Houston, Texas. They went to school together, and I can remember whenever they always used to talk about George coming to my grandmother's house,
Hmm.
eating all the food. That was a joke. They mentioned that on HBO one time. I think when I fought Roy Jones, they brought that up. That he
Uh-huh,
used to
uh-huh.
go to my grandmother's house and eat all the food. But yeah, they grew up in Fifth Ward.
Okay.
They had in Fifth Ward they had the Hester House where everybody went. It was
Right.
like a YMCA or boys club, Salvation Army boys club, like where I went. So yeah,
Okay.
they grew up together in the hood together. Yeah.
Great. Peter McNeely, he fought Mike Tyson. Was it 1985, 86? He's on. He said Reggie is a good guy. That's what he said. Peter McNeely, he
He
fought Mike.
just saying that because he owed me some money and he ain't paid me yet. No, I'm
Is
joking.
I'm gonna say, is that what it is?
No. Peter is a good guy, and he's even with his fight with Mike Tyson, man, that man he ran out there to fight and to give it his all, man. You gotta
Yeah,
respect that when a man give it his all, no matter what happened.
yeah,
Fast forward, but
you're exactly right, Reggie.
but
I'll never forget that fight. He stormed across the ring there. But anyway, Reggie, you grew up in Houston, Texas. What was it like growing up in Houston, Texas, in the Fifth Ward, as you said?
well, me growing up, I had my mother. I had 2 sisters. I have twin sisters. They're like 4 years younger than I, and I grew up fast, man. If you really
Hmm. Hmm.
think about it. And when I think in retrospect, I
Hmm.
started boxing at 12. At 14,
Wow.
I'm fighting in nationals.
Hmm.
At 14 and 15, 16, I'm on the U.S. team. I'm fighting all over the world, representing the U.S. at 156 pounds.
Hmm.
Um, me, my
Wow.
mother, my dad was locked up during that time,
Okay.
and
Okay.
he missed
Let me
most
ask you
of
this.
my.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you this, Reggie, because I mean, you've been a young man, because you've been a young kid, and you're going all over the world. Did you feel like that at that particular time that you was missing out on something as a young kid? But because you was boxing, you was going because you had a record, man. Your record was like 96-12. So when did you have the fun time as a young kid?
Well, I played basketball, football, baseball, all those sports. And when I started boxing at 12, that's when my career started at 12 because my mentor, me and Tyson has the same story. He had Gus. I had the late Mr. James Carter, who my
Right.
uncle Kenner Iron Man Walker took me to at the Salvation Army Boys Club because he was boxing. My uncle, about 6 years older than I am, and introduced me to Mr. Carter. The first day I put gloves on and sparred, they put me in there with a kid who had experience, and everybody was like shocked and surprised. And I just can remember when they was taking the glove off me after those 3 rounds, Mr. Carter told me, he said, "Young man, you can become world champion, boxing world champion." And that stuck in my head. And as a matter of fact, every year I started flying on planes when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My grandmother used to fly me to Tucson, Arizona, where she had moved, my dad's mother. And I remember even at the age of 12, when I started boxing, I stopped going every summer to visit my grandmother because of boxing.
Boxing. Wow. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yes.
I want to say hello to some people that just started to join us here. Jay York is Jay York Production. He is the guy that did your promo and put all your stuff together. He is my manager also. He's here now. He's saying hello to everybody. Jason,
he did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, he did an excellent job. Jay always does excellent. I don't know where he get all this stuff from. He be just dreaming of stuff, I guess. But Jason Pompeo, he says, "Good afternoon to everybody." He said, "Reggie Johnson is a great guy." But anyway, Reggie, as we move forward, you, like I said, you had an amateur career, man, unbelievable, 96-12, and you fought, like you said, all over the world. What would you say was the height of your career being an amateur?
I think that the height of my career, I must tell the whole story.
Okay.
Even though I was a standout fighter the first day I put gloves on, that Mr. Carter, my uncle, and everybody at the Salvation Army Boys Club here in Houston saw, I lost my first 4 amateur fights. My first amateur fight, I got disqualified for slapping. And I remember, I was throwing so fast and that's when they had the white on the gloves. You had to turn your punches over. But anyway, man, when I won that 5th fight, the next time I lost a fight, it was in the JO Nationals, right? In the finals. And I think I was like 14 and a half years old then, almost 15 when that happened. And I had from 4, I think I had like 34, 35 amateur fights then. Okay. Yeah. Something else I'd like to tell you about what amateur boxing done for me.
Okay, come on.
You know, watching some of my relatives, watching the people in my neighborhood, in my community. I remember my grandmother, my mother's mother, had a brother, and they would always knock on my grandmother's door, say, your brother, boom, boom, boom. And I would see my uncle who started me to boxing, his oldest brother, the late Uncle Gary Walker, and go get him out the ditch. He was, he was a big drinker. And he would be laying in the ditch or just fall out somewhere and had to get him. And then just all that stuff around, man. And I think boxing, hey, man. And then even when I was 12, I had this thing of sticking up for the people that was being bullied. I was getting in trouble. That's the only time I could remember fighting in school. Fighting somebody when somebody was trying to jump on somebody. Just coming up at that boxing, it was perfect timing for me. Boxing, and like I said, I grew up early. I had my first job at 14 working at Kroger's, a big supermarket store. I don't know if y'all have those in y'all area, but it's called Kroger's. I still talk to the manager at Kroger's, and he retired. I think he was at Kroger's for 54 years.
Wow, outstanding. Got some more people. I always want to recognize the people, Reggie, that's coming in here. Jason said you know him from Louisiana. He I guess he's from Louisiana or something like that. But he said he know you. Jay York says, send me some business. Plug me in, sir, with anyone that's got a story to tell from back in the day. He's talking about maybe some of the old fighters. I guess that's Jay York. Tony Burgess out of North Carolina. He said, "What's up from Burgess Boxing and Fitness, Spring Lake, North Carolina." I met Tony. He great guy. I love him to death. See him all the time. Jason said he's from Louisiana. That's what it is.
great background coming from Louisiana. I don't know if you guys remember when Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali had the amateur tournament that went by states, and Louisiana was the state that won it.
Oh yeah. Oh
That-
okay.
I
Okay. Well,
remember that. Yes.
okay. Okay. Great. Great. Um, Reggie, what made your decision to go pro? What made your decision to go pro after you had that stellar amateur career?
Well, after losing to Frank Tate in the Olympic trials, I was getting ready to turn 17, and turned 17, and I just wanted to turn pro.
Okay.
Even then, like I told you, I grew up fast. I was in a position to help my mother then, because I think we was getting like every 2 weeks $400. That was a lot of money back then, in
Right. Yeah.
'84.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like sending half that money back home to my mother. I was able to help my mother with that. And after losing, thinking about waiting another 4 years, uh, I had talked to my mother and told her I wanted to turn pro, and
Hmm.
just the same mother who didn't want me boxing at the age of 12, and she said, okay, well, that's a decision you would have to make. And I talked to the late Mr. James Carter,
Hmm.
and then I found out I had a kid on the way, so that closed the deal.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would close the deal for you. Baby, you
Yeah,
got to get.
my mother didn't have a problem with me turning pro, her signing my contract then when she knew I had a kid on the way. Yeah,
And look, Mama said, "Boy, you got to get out there, and go to work."
yeah.
Hello to Craig Huke of the Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame. A great friend of mine. I love working with Craig. He's awesome, man. You know who Craig Huke is, don't you? That guy knows
Oh,
everybody.
absolutely. He's the man. I met him at the International Boxing Hall of Fame in upstate New York. Know him
Yeah,
very well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I done had it on my show 2 or 3 times. He's an awesome guy, man. He keeps you. The guy's like a encyclopedia, man. I'm telling you. I'm
But
glad to see him.
he remember everything. But if my memory serves me right, I think he owed me some money too.
You probably do. You probably do. Jay York says, he said, do you have any pictures of you and Muhammad Ali?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh,
I was real tight with Ali. I was at his mother's funeral, and I was at the Hall of Fame. I think he was there too, for Ali's funeral. And I couldn't work it out to change my flight and stuff to go to Ali's funeral. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Jason out of Louisiana says, do you have do you know? wait a minute. He said, do you know the late Wilford Bew?
Oh, no, that's Bo
Oh,
Williford.
oh,
Yes.
oh,
I know he
Williford.
passed away. Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay,
used to,
okay.
my last fight, we had a problem with the people in Lake Charles at the gym. After we paid them, they want to count the people I bring there, my team, and
Mhm.
we ended up going to Bo Williford's gym. We drove a hour every day to go train from Lake
Okay,
Charles to Lafayette. Yeah, I know Bo
right.
Williford.
Okay,
Yes, yeah,
great. Uh,
absolutely.
like to say hello to Nisha Crane. I get tongue twisted sometimes. Out of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Glad to see her today.
Okay.
Here's another one of my guy. I got to shout him out right now, and he's a brother James Tony, DMC Can. He's in here right now. Damien, he's here. The brother James Tony. Good. He's always around. He's always around. He's always coming on to my show, and I want to say hello to him right now.
Well, I don't want to say hello to nobody named James Tony. Is that the James Tony who I beat and they didn't give me the decision? That's
That's
not the
his.
same James Tony, is it?
That's just his brother.
Huh?
That's his brother. That's his brother out of Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay, well, hello, James Tony. Lights out, James Tony. Boy, what a great fighter, man. I
Oh, it's
mean, win,
awesome,
lose,
right?
or draw, what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
man did, man. Hey, man, James beat Holyfield, who's a good
yeah,
friend
yeah,
of who came up when I came up and on the U.S.
yeah,
team.
yeah,
And man,
yeah.
to go up and wait and do what he did, hey, man, there's very few fighters, especially today, that you say, what if could this guy fight in any era? I know James Tony was one of those guys who could fight in any era.
Yeah, that guy, James Tony, I met him. It was a long time ago up in Livonia, Michigan, at the Livonia Boxing Club. I think he's
Uh-huh.
getting ready to fight. Oh my God, the body snatcher. What's his name? God knows.
Mike McCallum.
Yes, he was getting ready to go out, I think go out to Vegas or somewhere out there, California, somewhere to fight him. And boy, he was talking. Yeah, I can say this. He was talking some shit in that gym that day. I
Oh yeah,
tell you.
well, James. Hey, you know what? You know why I really love James Tony, because when he and I fought, he had on some dark glasses in the hood, but
Uh-huh.
he didn't try to get in my head with throwing the chairs and people holding him back and all that. I mean, until this day, I don't know why he didn't try that, because I know that was part of one of the things he did to get in somebody's head. And then
Yeah.
after the fight was over, he still go over there and hug those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a character, great guy. Um, okay, yeah, you know your first 5 years, man. You was 18, 1-1, and then you moved to L.A. What made you go to L.A. out to California out there?
Well, after I had came back from South Africa, that's another thing. Fighting in South Africa back then, I think I was 21, 22. I didn't know what apartheid was.
Hmm.
I wasn't supposed to go over there. My then manager uh, sent me over there with uh, uh, the coaches from Louisiana who went with me. It was just he and I. Stayed over there about a month and a half. Uh, and whenever I bring this story up, I also add this to it because this is a true story. When
Okay.
I flew from America to London, UK, I was on Pan Am Flight 103, the
Hmm.
same flight that crashed about a month and a half later and killed all those people. And
Hmm.
whenever I tell people that, they be like, "Come on, Reggie, there you go pranking again." No, I was on that plane, man. I
Hmm.
wasn't on it at the time that it crashed. But
Hmm.
they think I'm joking because I'm a prankster. But yeah, I'll never forget that. I was on that same flight, Pan Am Flight 103. I got the ticket somewhere amongst all my stuff. Uh,
Right. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But going to South Africa, fighting over there, fighting a guy in his backyard, stopping him in the 7th round, coming back to Houston, and I was a gym rat and stayed in the gym, and
Hmm.
Bill Benton, who owned the gym,
Hmm.
approached me one day, said, "Reggie, why come you ain't fighting, man? What's up?" And then he told me about the people he had up in California that was signing a lot of fighters. He said, I mentioned your name to him, and they was highly interested. He said, "Are you interested talking to those people?" I said, "Of course." And I
Hmm.
think 5 days a week went by, and I didn't hear from him. I said, "Bill, what's up with the people?" He said, "Man, I've been busy. I'm sorry." He said,
Hmm.
"Tomorrow I'm gonna have news." And tomorrow he had news. I talked to them, went there for like about 5 days, trained in Watts, California with Ken Norton trainer, the late can't think of
Okay.
his name right now. But
Okay.
uh and then that last day I sparred uh uh the late Mr. Carl DeMay, who was based up there in, like by San Francisco,
Hmm.
flew his little jet plane down to come watch me work out. And I just remember I sparred the top guy who's a 168-pounder.
Hmm.
Uh, and I remember after we got through sparring, they took me in the room and talked to me and gave me a pen and paper, say, "Write down what it's going to take." I said, "Well, I hadn't really thought about it." He said, "Well, you got all the time, Reggie. Just write it down." And
Right.
everything I wrote on that paper, the
Yeah.
money, the
Right.
car,
Or yeah.
the way of living, the
Right.
condominium, all that stuff was. He
Wow.
looked at it and he said, "It's a done deal." And I remember coming back to Houston, putting all my stuff in the storage. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and went back there. And when I came back to Houston, I think it was a little over a year. I
Hmm.
think I had won 2 belts, and
Hmm.
I was in the top 5 in the world, and
Hmm.
ended up being number 1 by 2 of the sanctioning bodies, and number 2 by the other one. And I was the
Hmm.
busiest from those 2 years. I was the busiest fighter in the world. I think I fought like 14 times in like I think it was
God
like 13 months or something like that.
Jeez, you was really busy, man. You was awesome, man. That was great. You stayed, you just stayed busy and you worked and you 14 times in 2 years, man. Oh God,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
work.
Well, and I can only compare that to when I look at my record and see I've only had 52 pro fights. If I would have been busy like that my whole career, I would be like
Oh yeah,
Julio Cesar Chavez, a hundred
Chavez,
and
yeah,
some pro
right.
fights. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
you're exactly right.
Or,
Um,
or even like James Tony. Well, James
yeah,
has like about 90 some pro fights,
yeah,
don't he?
yeah.
70,
He's up there.
80 or 90. Yeah.
Yeah, he's over 70. I know
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
he's over
Mhm.
70. I want to say hello to Lindell Jones. He's out of Georgia, a good friend of mine. I think it was coming in and stopping and watching the show today. Um, A lot of people don't know this, Reggie, but you're way related to the late Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the first black heavyweight in the world, and a lot of people didn't know this. He died here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm at. But you're related to him. Wow, that's got to be a great feeling to know that you're part of him in that way.
Well, I found that out in 2003 when my father passed away.
Hmm.
I flew my grandmother, the late Miss Lily Cole, my Aunt Joyce, my dad's sister, and her two kids here to Houston for the funeral. And we was sitting at my table one day, and my grandmother, we was talking, and she brought up that because my grandfather, whose name was Nathaniel Johnson,
Hmm.
he even changed his name legally to Jack Johnson because he wanted to be like his relative, D. Jack Johnson. And my
Right.
grandmother told me about him sneaking off having fights as well, and she didn't
Hmm.
want him boxing. And it was, I don't think you'll talk to anyone 91 years old that's going to make up a story like that, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when we
That's right.
buried my father next to his father, and I saw the tombstone, it had Jack Johnson on it.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
And,
Wow.
and and that is out there. Some of the interviews some of the stuff out there that Bowles talks about
Right.
Jack Johnson
Jack
being
Johnson.
a relative to Jack
Jack
Johnson,
Johnson.
who
Yeah.
even Muhammad Ali said was a crazy man. He was crazy, marrying white women in 1900.
That's what I'm saying. He was the only person that I knew back then that was dealing with the Caucasian race and female race and and that type of way. Uh, Billy Frez, he says, listen to Reggie's comments about how he had been booked on a flight that crashed. You all, he said, we came that close to losing one of our greats. Life is such a mysterically a thing. That's what he's saying. He said
Right,
you was
right, right,
almost
right.
on a flight that possibly could have crashed or something to that nature. Um,
Well, to
but
add to that also, man, hey, man, I always tell people this story, man. I've always been uneasy flying on planes. I mean, when I was real young, like I told you, 5 or 6, I didn't really understand. But when I got to know, looking out that window, hey, man, if this thing you won't, I always had a problem, but it was something that I had to do to accomplish and to move around the world and do what I had to do to become what I became, a
right.
world champion, man.
World champion. Yeah, Jay York. Yes, that was done already. That was done. He was asking me about something. Yeah, that was Peter McNeely said Jack Johnson was a pioneer. But look, let's move on for Reggie. I want to talk about you was in a division, man, that was stacked. I'm talking about this division back. I believe this was back in the '80s, if I'm not mistaken. James Toney was in it. Michael Nunn was in it. Roy Jones was in it. Julian Jackson was in it, and you go on for going down the road, and you going down the road. There's lots of fighters, but we want to talk about the man you just talked about. That was James Toney, and you fought James Toney, and you believe that you won that fight, and you knocked him down. What round was that when you did that?
Second round.
Second round. Second
Yeah, the
round.
second round. Mhm.
And he got back up, and of course you guys fought it out. And how's your feelings about that fight? Because I think you want a rematch, don't you?
Well, I think I brought that up to James Toney when we met. We hadn't seen each other in 21 years. We met at the Hall of Fame. The great John Scully hooked it up, and he's real close to James Toney. He hooked it up, and he said that when he's at the hotel, he said, "Tony, I got a surprise. Somebody." He said, "James Toney." Said, "Hell no, I'm not going. Who is it?" And then he said, "Well, it's Reggie Johnson, man." He said, "Okay, well, I'll go see Reggie." You know what I'm saying? But that's how the whole thing happened, man. And
Okay.
till this day, in my heart, I still feel that I won that fight. But I
Right.
also
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like Marvin Hagler said when he got the draw and he really beat veto Firmo. He said, from now on, I'm bringing my own judges, and he didn't never want to feel that way again. And really that helped me. And what really helps me when I think in retrospect, knowing what James Toney went on to do, and me fighting on that level way back then. That was my first pro fight. That was his second pro fight, because I was the mandatory for Michael Nunn, but Michael Nunn ended up. With the probably got another fight with Tony, and he lost to James Toney.
Right?
Don't you know?
Exactly.
Don't you know that James Toney fought me 6 weeks after he beat Michael Nunn?
Yeah. Yes. 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah. 6 weeks.
I watched that fight the other night, and they were saying like that was unbelievable. He just fought Nunn, turn around 6 weeks later and fighting you. I said, man, he had a lot of energy. He was ready to go. That's what it was.
Well. Hey, now this is what when you talk about the politics of boxing. If you go back and watch that second round, when I knocked James Toney down, what was the lady's name who had me three? No, she had me 3-4 points. One of the judges, 3 to 4. Patricia German. I'll never forget that name.
Right.
When I knocked James Toney down, you look at her. She hit the desk like that, and she was just looking dead at me. This is the same lady that had me 3-4 points going down in the last round. And I'll tell you something else. Go back and watch the fight. Right before they make that decision, when that last bell ring, look at my cornerman and look at his cornerman and see how they reacted.
I know it was a sight to see.
Yeah. Well, hey man, let me tell you something, man. That James Toney, lights out. Man, hey man, hey man, that was early in our career on that level, and I'm proud of what he did, because it only shined a light on what I did, and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of it's like saying Muhammad Ali without bringing up Joe Frazier, saying Joe Frazier without bringing up Muhammad Ali.
You're so correct. You're so correct on that, man. You guys had some. It was a great fight. I watched that fight, and I looked at it over about twice. I looked at that fight. Carlos Crawford said, "Congratulations, champ," and DMC Cannon, he's laughing away about what you just said. Reggie, 10 months later, you became the Houston's very first fighter to win a world champion, and you fought a guy by the name of Steve Collins. How did you feel about that, man? You was the very first Houston native to do that.
Well, at that particular time, I didn't even know nothing about being the first, and I learned that like years later, after winning that. I'm just focused on I was like the gym rat. I'm the fighter. When I got to that level, I want to get away from my kids. I want to get away from my wives. I want to get away from everything. I did a lot of training camps in the mountains, Big Bear, California. I was one of the first fighters that trained up there in Big Bear, California. I remember when I was up there getting ready to fight Jorge Castro, when Oscar De La Hoya, we both was up there at the same time training.
Oh wow!
So yeah. But so the thing is, man, it's just this was, like I told you, my career started at the age of 12, and that's taking care of my bills, my kids, my family. I mean that you got to get away from that. And I know back in the old school days, I think for a certain period of time, like Ali and a lot of fighters took their families to training camp with them, and then I think the last 3 weeks or something like that, they would send their family home.
Right.
But me, I just wanted to get away from everything, man, because at the end of the day, if you ain't right, you can't when that bell ring, you they can't help you, and you can't help yourself if you're not right.
That's right. You got that right, Rich. You got that right.
Hey, but check this out. The thing about this here now, I love the Rocky movies because it educated a lot of people. But don't you remember when Rocky was getting his butt whooped and his wife was hollering, "Stop the fight! Stop the fight!" Yeah. And I think somebody in the audience streamed and said, "You should have stopped making love to him."
That was good. That was good right there.
Yeah,
I think we're here today with the three-time world champion Reggie Johnson, and we have get some good laughs in also, and getting a lot of history, man. Getting a lot of history. Um, you fought Lamar Park, Lamar Parks, undefeated young guy. I think he was like 26. He was 22, and you guys fought on Tuesday night fights. I watched that fight, and man, that was something else. Well, you was fighting an undefeated fighter that night, a guy that was supposed to beat you, I believe. Yeah, yeah, you was an
yeah.
underdog.
I think he was like the 2-1 or 3-1 favorite. Lamar Parks was signed with Madison Square Garden,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the favorite to win that fight. And I got to tell this story
Mm-hmm.
because Evander Holyfield, when it hit the media that I was going to be fighting him in my hometown at the summit,
Mm-hmm.
Evander Holyfield told me, looked me in my eyes, said, Reggie, I got to tell you something. I said, oh, what's up? He said, listen, man, you need to get with Tim Hallmark. That was his strength coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was the guy that put the muscle and trained Evander Holyfield
Mm-hmm.
to be a light heavyweight, cruiserweight, moving up to heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
So, and I had never lifted weights, and at that particular time, and after the fight with Lamar Parks at the post press conference, I told everybody, I said, listen, this guy's going to be the future middleweight champion. I will be moving up to 168. It's hard for me to make 160 now.
Right.
Sure enough, he did. And, we know what happened. He was supposed to fight Gerald McCullen. Then he tested positive for HIV.
Right.
But if I wouldn't have got with Tim Hallmark,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? I would have fought the same, but I probably wouldn't have had the energy, the strength. I had never felt that way in a fight before after doing that.
Workout.
Training with the weights, and I'm thinking he gonna have me lifting 200 pounds 10 times or something, and then the last thing Tim Hallmark told me when I was at his office downtown Houston, he said, Reggie, you just gonna have to trust me, and man, I'm glad I trusted that man because I don't think the Reggie Johnson without Tim Hallmark, what he added, would have had. And it wasn't an easy fight still, but the outcome probably wouldn't have been like that.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. When you bring people into your circle and they help you out, it's just a different thing. You feel different, and you appreciate that too. I know you did.
Oh,
I know you did.
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I know you did. You went on in 1993. You went on and faced John David Johnson.
No, Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, John David Jackson. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all went over to Argentina and fought way over there. How did that come about? Go way over there to fight two American guys.
Well, two Americans fighting in a different country, and we're going to educate the listeners, your followers about boxing.
Right. Right.
I went over there and fought him because it's obvious that he had to have a deal to fight Jorge Castro, and I think normally if a guy make the 12 rounds, he's going to win that fight because he already signed a deal to come back and fight Jorge Castro over there. Right. But you know what? He didn't go, and they stripped him, and I went. I went over there to fight him.
Right. Yeah, you went over to fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I tell everybody about the political losses, and I tell them I have the James Toney, the two Jorge Castro, and the John David Jackson fight. Now, let me tell you something. Like John David Jackson, later, when I moved up in weight, and I was getting ready to fight for the light heavyweight world title, that same man who on the record on BoxRec got a win over me, I hired that same left-handed man to spar with me to get me ready for William Guthrie.
Wow.
So what you got to understand, man, when you experience something like that, you can't take it personal. You still got to move forward and do what you
What came to
whatever
do?
you have
Yeah.
to do to prepare yourself. Even if that's the guy, hey man, I fought this guy, but man, we both fighters, and I
Yeah.
always show the fighters love after a fight, no matter what happened. Hey man,
You was a class.
I'm glad you healthy. I'm healthy, man. Let's
Man,
just move forward. But John David Jackson, a great guy, and look what he accomplished as a trainer as well. So he's a world champion and a world champion trainer.
Yes,
Right.
he sure is.
That's
He
right.
sure is, man. Great
Mhm.
guy. And then you fought, as you said, Jorge Castro, and you fought him twice.
Right.
Wow. And it was how did you feel about that? You fought that guy twice, man.
Well, once again, those are two fights in my heart. I know I won, but if I'm fighting a guy in his backyard in Argentina and they call the fight a draw, what do that really mean?
Yeah. What? Yeah, exactly. What does it really mean? They call it a draw. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're gonna move a little further here, Reggie. Just want to, Reggie. Jason says, "Are you still involved in the boxing circuit in Houston?"
Well, yeah. I work with fighters, work with kids. I even train people just for help. I got one guy I trained 2 months in a week, and he lost 45 pounds just by way of training.
Wow.
I got one guy. He's like almost 4 months. He lost. This guy lost about 68 pounds.
Wow.
I have to send you those pictures to show you before and after with these guys.
Before and after. Great.
Yeah.
1998. Here we go. Here, William Guthrie, for the IBF title, and here we go again. You're an underdog again. Every time you step into the ring, you was the underdog, and 7-1 underdog at that. But you proved them wrong. You proved them wrong that night. How did you feel about that, Reggie?
Well, that was a great feeling, because when you sit out contracts, when you take promoters to court, and think about it, man. You want to be an active fighter, and you can't fight, so you have to sit out. You have to sit out a contract, and that once again, like I told you, I was a gym rat. I was in the gym, and that phone call. Bill Bitton, who owned the gym, got the call for Frank Tate, who I lost to in the Olympic trials. That fight was for him, and he turned the fight down. And Mr. Bitton spoke on my behalf. He said, "Well, do you have any tie-ins with this guy? Because I got somebody to fight him, but your guy's not going to win." He said the guy at HBO told him, "Get the F out of here. Who you got that's going to whoop Guthrie?" And then he said my name. He said, "God damn, Reggie is a middleweight." He said, "Yeah, but he's moving up to 68. He said, "Man, I'm sure Reggie will fight William Guthrie. He'll go up 2-weight classes for that opportunity to fight for the world title again." And he was right. I did, and the rest is history. And this is why we got to tell these stories about fighters, because I had met William Guthrie probably 5-6 years before that, because he was with Main Event. He was training with, I think, Antoine Eccles, or I don't think it was Eccles, another fighter who was fighting a guy in Germany for the world title, who was left-handed. So they had Guthrie, who's left-handed, and they had me sparring with him.
Wow.
Yeah. So Guthrie called me a week before last. He called me.
Did he?
Yes. I still talk to him. Yes.
Great. I'd love to have him on my show one day.
We can make that happen then. We definitely can make that happen.
I appreciate that, Reggie. I really do.
Yeah.
This set up the fight. This actually sets up everything for you and Roy Jones. How did you get there? Did you know you was getting ready to, get to him? You know what I'm saying? Get to Roy and get ready to get to fight him. Did you know that was coming?
Well, you know why I knew that? Because when I was courting with Murad Muhammad 3M Promotions, I switched my training camp and went to Pensacola and was going to do a fight there on the card. I think that's when Roy and his dad was going through some stuff, because he didn't fight on the card. And me and Roy sparred 3 times, and then he stopped coming to the gym. I'm not saying he stopped coming from the gym because of sparring, but I remember the whole gym, the fire chief, the police chief, even a man from the moon came down to watch he and I spar, And I think Roy told the story at the pre-fight stuff when he fought that, he knew that we was going to end up meeting. But once again, that was supposed to be a William Guthrie fight.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they was
Yes,
building.
yeah.
Yeah, that was William Guthrie. They was building that fight up for unification with him and Roy, and then that's how I got it because I beat
You
William
beat
Guthrie.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, and you went into the fight, and it was always amazing because you was the underdog, but somehow you always get these big fights being the underdog. I tell you, you awesome, man. You awesome with it. Um, then you moved on. And let me ask you this though: how was Roy in the ring when you was fighting that night? Was he fast? How was he that night when you fought him that night?
Well, that night I fought Roy. I think I fought the best Roy Jones. And it really made me. I know Ali, man. That's my hero in and out the ring. And Ali said one time that he could turn the lights off and be in the bed before the room get dark. That's how
Mm,
fast he was.
got to
And
know.
I thought about that with Roy Jones. Ali, that's not you. That's Roy Jones. I can't catch him. He hit me too fast. Yeah, but once again, man, that Roy Jones was the best fighter during our era. So
Yeah, it
you
was.
know,
He was.
once again, when people ask me what was your favorite fight, it was the Roy Jones fight, and they always come back. Hey, you lost
Exactly.
that fight. Yeah, but I
Right.
won at the bank, and I won in the having my name printed in history. So that was
There
my
you go.
best
There you go.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I had Roy on about maybe about a month and a half ago for about 5 minutes, and we talked. And a lot of people didn't know that Roy, when he fought Vinny Pazienza, he didn't get hit in one round. In one round, I think I don't know if it was the third round, what round it was, but he could not get hit. Vinny never touched him, never hit him in one round in that round. Never got hit.
So
Uh,
so let me ask you something. With the history of boxing, what is that? What is that reminiscent of? I think I better tell you because we only got 10 more minutes.
there you go. There you go.
Hey, listen. The great Willie Pep is the only fighter who won a round without throwing a punch because of defensive skills.
Skills, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
Willie
what.
Pep. You know about that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of make you think about Willie Pep.
Really pep. That's right. And
Yeah,
Roy,
yeah,
Roy talked a little smack. He said, I'm the greatest defensive fighter there is.
yeah. Hey. I got a guy who my advisor out of Wilmington, Delaware, son did a rap song for me, and in that
Uh-huh.
song he put in there something about Roy Jones had a good night, this and that. And hey, Roy, I didn't write that, man. Somebody else wrote that. I didn't write it.
Great stuff. Billy says, guys, this video needs to be shared all over boxing. It is. We putting it right now into groups on YouTube. It's going into YouTube. It's going into about 50 groups right now as we talk. Boxing groups, that is. He says, learn some crazy personal facts in this one. He said, great job. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. We winding it down now, but you also fought Antonio Tarver. That was another fight that you got into, and what you got to say about that fight,
Well,
Reggie?
I can only speak what really transpired. Uh, I think that would have been a better fight. I think I had the perfect game plan to fight him, but in the third round, I got my eardrum busted. I had a day out surgery when I got back home for my ear, and I had to go into the style of trying to trick him and fight him off the ropes. And it always, I almost had him in the ninth round. I had him down, but my equilibrium. I was educated. I didn't know that your taste buds, equilibrium, and all that stuff was tied into each other. And I
Right.
think I got hit in the third round, and the punch didn't turn over and hit my eardrum. And I can remember for like 3, 4, maybe 5 rounds, all I could hear was.
Oh wow. Oh
But 4 or 5 rounds, and then
yeah.
I kept trying to set him up, and I got him in the ninth round, dropped him, and I remember what's the fighter's name? His trainer then, the fighter, former world champion, was in his corner,
Oh
ran
wow.
around there and made him get up. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
once again, once again, it's just like Tony. But look what Antonio Tarver went on to do.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, he fought DMC's was asking the question, did you fight Roy? Yeah, he fought him. Yeah, he fought Roy. Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, I fought Roy Jones in 1999.
Um, there were some fighters that you did not fight, Reggie. Could you name a few of them just for me, please? That you did not, that you wanted to fight.
I know one of the fights that we did like about 3 press conferences. In 2008, I was supposed to fight Glenn Johnson. I had an elbow problem. We pushed it back a little bit, and he ended up fighting the other guy for the world title. So I called another guy that I knew from L.A., the late Julio Gonzalez. I called him and put the fight together and fought him, and he beat Johnson, and so I fought him. That was my last fight in 2008.
2008, your last fight. All right,
Yes.
Reggie. Got a lot of fighters getting into the boxing world. We get ready to wind this thing down. What would you say to the fighters to help them and keep them on a straight and narrow path as they come up in this boxing world?
Well, I would like to say that I know times have changed. You guys are getting paid more money, and that should be easier for you guys to have more money at the end of the day. And I want you to do something that I didn't do. You got to have some very smart people that know how to handle money, and you'd be surprised how many people you'll make even more money. Your money will sit there and make money, and you'll be able to take care of your families and be able to share and help people on the streets, man. It's all, hey man, you're only as strong as your team at the end of the day.
There you go. You're right. You're exactly right. Reggie, we're going to close it out. This is what I want to ask you. I want to ask you this question. It's from me to you. What does the D.Hall People Show and J. York Productions mean to you right now at this moment?
I missed that. Say that one more time.
I said, what does the D.Hall People Show and J. York Production, what does it mean to you?
Oh man, anything boxing related, especially, man. You know, when I first met you, just people don't tap into people's spirits and like that, man. I love your spirit, and like myself, I know you love the ultimate sport of boxing.
Yeah, I love it.
This is a great platform that will educate a lot of people, and this is. I was a part of a podcast for a little while. Coronavirus shut us down. We thinking about getting it back started. But I mean, this is what we need, man. And we need to start doing these documentaries, telling the whole story of these fighters. And trust me, man, most of these stories will be better than a Mike Tyson fight or a big heavyweight fight or big fight. Period. Right. Just knowing the whole story of these fighters and what they went through and what they accomplished and what they had to do to accomplish. And man, coming from I got this one thing for you. Remember, we forgot about this.
Go ahead.
Let's just next time I'll have another one.
Okay.
There's only one fighter that came from a middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whoever reach to you and give you the right answer, let me know. Get their address, and I'll send them an autograph picture and an autograph glove.
I know that's right, brother. Well, y'all hear that question? Did y'all hear that question? Did y'all hear the question?
Name one fighter who came from a middle class family. Now we know Manny Pacquiao. We saw him being a poor young man selling stuff back in the Philippines, all over the world. Reggie Johnson from Fifth Ward. I had a job when I was 14 trying to help my family. This story go on and on and on, man. All fighters all over the world. And something else I like to share with on this platform. Mm-hmm. I know I love football. I used to love the Dallas Cowboys, NFL. Mm-hmm. I love baseball too, because we've been champion with the Houston Astros. Mm-hmm. Even soccer, the NFL, all these leagues, they say they world champions, but they don't play people all over the world. Boxing is and I think MMA now is the real world titles.
Yeah. World titles, yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're right.
And I love football, baseball, all that stuff. And I know what they do get some players from different countries, but I'm talking about that's based. The NFL got a team in Canada, don't they? The NFL is the only team that got a team out of Canada. Yeah.
All right, Reggie. any questions that you want to ask me, man?
I'll just no, I got something I want to tell you. Just hey man, hey, this is great, man. Just let me know when you're ready to do part 2.
Okay, got you, brother.
And I can be reached on Reggie Johnson on Facebook, Instagram, a lot of stuff. I do a lot of memorabilia. I sell a lot of memorabilia over in the London, UK area. Just reach out to me if anybody wants to sign autographs, pictures. I got a ton of. I even got a replica championship ring that we sell.
Wow. Okay, great. Well, y'all just read. He just told you how to get in contact with him, so y'all make sure y'all do that. Reggie, it's been wonderful. What a great show it was today. I knew it was going to be a good one. You topped it off for us, being the first professional boxer to come on this year on my show. Man, it was great to have you here. We really appreciate me and J York Productions, man. And if there's anything that we can do with our program to help you in any type of way, we'd be glad to do it, brother.
All right, thank you, man. It's a pleasure, man. This was great, man. Thanks for sharing your platform with me.
Oh yeah, anytime. All right, Reggie, we'll catch you next time, man. Keep punching, brother.
All right, you too, brother. All right.
Take care, man. All right. Great show, man. Wow, what a guy. Reggie is he just topped it off today for me. And I thank y'all. I'll be back on. I'm coming back on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on TikTok. We'll have another guest over there. First time ever we're going to be on TikTok doing an interview. Mr. Larry Benjamin out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. He has a clothing and apparel store and music. I'll be talking with him. Look, we got to go. We thank y'all so much for being here today with us, man. It's been awesome. It's been great. I want to thank Jay York, my producer, the man that does it, the man that stands behind us, and the man that works hard to put things together so I can come on the show and talk to y'all. Billy, I see you. You're a big fan. Yeah, we're going to schedule a part 2 probably in a couple of months or so. We're going to bring him back. We learned so much today from him, and I got to go. But I thank y'all, man. I thank everybody. We pumped this thing into YouTube, and God knows 30, 40, 50 groups, how many groups we've been hitting this thing with. And it was a great, awesome interview today. And I thank y'all for coming on, man. We got to go. I'll see you at 7 o'clock TikTok. My name is Boss Hog 42 on the TikTok. And we're going over there and talk to my man at 7 o'clock. We'll see you. We'll see you then. Y'all, and God bless. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you.
You are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show.
Listen, yeah.
This is a J York production. You are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show.
This is Travis Scott, 21-7.
You're listening to J York Productions.
What it do is the baby, and we in the mix.
You got it locked with D.Hall on the weekend, baby. Ready? And initiate a J York production. J York production. J York production.
You are in the mix with D.Hall and the People's Show. This is a J York production.
Facebook family.
Hey, I'm Ashley Braswell, a local comedian from Charlotte.
The announcer Walter Waite.